we're here today to announce a momentous settlement of our firm's sex abuse case against the city of Chicago. In the fall of last year, parents of 3 young Chicago public school system students came to us to file a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Chicago Board of Education regarding a horrendous grooming and sexual abuse situation. A gym teacher by the name of Andrew Castro at Federico Garcia Lorca Elementary School in the Avondale neighborhood of Chicago groomed and prepared these 3 young children for horrible abuse that was to come. The grooming occurred between a 4-year period between 2017 and 2021. Castro preyed on these students at school. He befriended them with gifts, compliments, and special treatment at school. He attended their sports games. He befriended their families, and he thoroughly earned their trust. He began texting the students. The sexual abuse began in 2018 and lasted through 2001. Castro begins inviting the boys over to his home, playing games involving clothing removal, touched and fondled the boys, had the boys sleep over, performed sexual acts on these boys, culminating in rape. The warning signs. We learned that the parents observed inappropriate behavior with this Castro and the students. Students at the school actually referred to him as pedo. It appears to have been common knowledge among the students that he was a problem. And yet, we also found out that the teachers and staff observed Castro outside of school with these boys. Nothing was done until it was too late and the rape and the molestations had already occurred. So today we're announcing that we have achieved a $2 million settlement on behalf of this family in hopes that this victory is going to help this family continue their path of healing and therapy. With that, I thank you for being here, and I'd like to turn it over to Patricia Karlin, one of the other attorneys on this file.
Thank you. I am Patricia Karlin of the Karlin Law Firm, LLC. And as Mr. Disparti already stated, this is a formal announcement of the settlement of the civil lawsuit between Doe's v. CBOE and Andrew Castro. While the criminal case against Mr. Castro is still ongoing, the Chicago Board of Education has taken a wise and necessary step in settling this civil matter. Let's be clear, this settlement is not a victory to be celebrated. For our clients, it marks a significant and positive milestone in a long and painful journey towards healing and recovery. This resolution should not be mistaken for the end. It is merely the beginning of a much larger fight for accountability. We hold no illusions that this case alone will bring about sweeping changes to the broken CPS system, a system so fundamentally broken that it demands complete overhaul. But we hope this case sends a powerful message to others who may be suffering in silence. You are not alone. We are here to help. This case demonstrates that when you come forward, there are advocates who will fight relentlessly for you. And we've shown we can be highly effective. Our work continues, and so does our commitment to ensuring that no one endures this kind of trauma without the support and justice they deserve. Thank you so much, and now I will turn it over to Cass Casper.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Cass Casper. I'm one of the attorneys with Disparti Law Group who, as part of our legal team, handled this case. I want to give you an update on the nuts and bolts of the legal process. The complaint was originally filed in fall of last year against Castro and Chicago Board of Education, as well as some individual defendants who were administrators of Federico Garcia Lorca Elementary School. As the case got moving in the spring, we identified through additional investigation that our firm did, we identified an additional defendant who we believed should have taken action, more action to prevent what happened to these kids. And we identified additional claims, so we filed an amended complaint adding that defendant and stating those additional claims. Chicago Public Schools initially fought our complaint, tried to have it thrown out through a motion to dismiss. In June, however, they agreed to attend a settlement conference with our assigned magistrate judge, Gilbert. Over the course of the summer, it was strenuous negotiations, multiple rounds. Disparti Law Group, our legal team, did manage to achieve this victory for these kids. The final signature on the settlement agreement was signed on October 18th, and the case was officially dismissed as part of that settlement agreement on October 22nd this week. And the way that works, we're just waiting for the court to finally approve the dismissal, and the case will be completed. The funds are coming to the kids in or around December of this year, at which point, when they receive those, they can begin their journey of healing. I want to emphasize, as one of the lawyers on this case, what has shocked me about this situation is how bad this problem is. I never imagined before getting involved in these sex abuse cases that this is such a rampant problem. There's so many kids who are raising alarms about sex abuse, and apparently, as we've learned, our school system here in Chicago is not equipped with the tools to handle it. There are not adequate reporting measures. There are not adequate protections for kids, both to preserve their anonymity and to safeguard them from retaliation or their fears after they report the abuse, and we need to do more to fix this problem. The legal team here at Disparti, we have announced a sexual abuse hotline. The number is 312-506-1235. Again, Disparti Sexual Abuse Hotline, 312-506-1235. There are not enough lawyers in this area helping police claims of sex abuse against our children. We are hoping to change that. So if you or a loved one is experiencing this, call our sex abuse hotline. We can do anonymous consultations. We can meet with you. We can preserve your identity and figure out if there's a way to get justice for you to stop this from happening. With that, I'll turn it over to Robert Fioretti for additional comments. Thank you.
And good morning, everybody. As you know, we've announced this lawsuit settlement today. And while today marks the new beginning for the lives of the 3 young boys who were abused, it is sad to say that we have to be here. It is sad that there are more than 2,000 complaints have been filed with the Chicago Public Schools Office of Inspector General Sexual Allegations Unit. It's sad that there are more than 225 active sexual allegation cases pending. And it is sad to say, and maybe it's disgusting, that parents who send their child to the Chicago Public Schools even have to worry about abuse. I think we can all agree that our schools should be safe havens for our children, and our children's safety should be one of the top priority of school administrators. And again, sadly, we are seeing this is not the case. This must change, and maybe with this new school board, they'll start addressing the problem. Our kids need to grow up in schools that create a love for learning and foster curiosity. And it's in schools where teachers, administrators, coaches, staff are role models, not predators. And as this civil case comes to a close, these kids are just beginning a lifelong journey of recovery. This should be a reminder to school administrators, not just here, but everywhere, that the child needs to learn and deserves in every neighborhood, every zip code, everywhere throughout this city and county. They deserve a safe place to learn, to grow, so that they're prepared for success at college, in their careers, in their jobs, in their future lives, for everybody. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Amanda Martin, who has helped guide us through this litigation and the work she's done.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning. As director of the litigation team for Disparti, I want to repeat a point that Patricia made earlier. Today is not a celebration of a victory. Today is a reminder that Disparti Law has a team of attorneys ready to fight for abuse victims. That's what you're being shown today, in part. We are a team of attorneys who will fight for the rights of abuse victims. Call us. Tell us your story. Again, our hotline is 506-1235. We are ready to fight against the people who failed to listen, who failed to protect you. And with that, I'll now open the floor to any questions any of you may have for the team.
Question regarding the hotline. I believe that launched either late fall or early winter last year. I'm wondering if you have any statistics on how many calls that hotline has received since and if those have led to anything in the works.
I can't speak to the specific statistics relative to how many calls we've received. I can say we have received far more calls than we expected. In part, I think that's why it's important to reiterate that number. We're happy to listen to everyone's story and see if there is a cause of action there for someone that we can pursue. Relative to what we've heard, this is an ongoing issue. This is a pervasive problem, and the only way to combat it is for brave people who have been victims to come forward.
In addition to the hotline, you guys have discussed how, this case specifically in kind of the realm of CPS and abuse that's ongoing in Chicago public schools. This is just kind of the start of that. What's the role that you guys can play, not just generally in combating sexual abuse, but specifically in CPS schools like this case?
Well, I think part of it is creating a dialogue. And every time we file one of these lawsuits, that's a way for us to communicate that the current measures in place and policies are simply not effective. They are not creating a safe environment for the children. They are not leading to either teachers feeling that they are free to come forward and provide information when they should. They should feel empowered to do that. They shouldn't be afraid. So part of filing the lawsuit is always going to be sending that message that more needs to be done. Clearly, without that, simply some of this stuff coming forward in the media also creates that pressure. But at the same time, anytime a lawsuit's filed, we think that that's a good opportunity to bring it back into the forefront so it doesn't get pushed under the rug. That's what's been happening. Go ahead, Bob.
I do want to comment on the question, because if we all recall here in this room in about 2014, the Tribune had a several-part series about sexual abuse that was happening in our schools. And the legislature had hearings right across the street or down the street. And what happened? Nothing. And they just didn't learn. And it was almost like, as Amanda just said, a cover-up, because they just pushed it under the rug and nobody cared about it. And so there are groups that are fighting for this and to make sure that this does not happen in our schools.
I know also at a press conference that you guys did when this litigation was first starting, you guys talked about the notification system specifically as a way that CPS was failing. I'm wondering if there's anything else as you've gone throughout this case and this process that you've found specifically of examples of how CPS is failing.
Well, I can address another point that we noted, which is when the ultimate notification is made that there has been an incident, oftentimes the person isn't identified, so parents really have no idea who the perpetrator is. That's a huge problem. How do you talk to your kids about, do you have this teacher? Have you been involved with this person in any way where you felt uncomfortable? If the school is just sending out, we've suspended somebody, but we're not going to tell you who. How does that help parents keep their kids safe? So that's one of the problems we've seen. I'm sure there's more as we get into additional litigation, and we're happy to highlight those things so that hopefully action can be taken on them by the school. We're not here to attack the school. We're here to help. That's the whole point of this.